Physical geology students. My name is Arthur Lee, and I'm going to be your professor this semester. And we're going to have the best class we can have, even though we have to do it online. I apologize, but there's no way for us to meet in person. It's just the way Roan State has set it up this semester. So I'm going to give you a few hints before I start talking about the class itself. Since we're going to be doing it online, I think almost everybody has signed up with Remind. Make sure that you signed up for Remind, and if you haven't signed up for Remind, send me an email, and I will send you a link so that we can send text messages to one another. Also, you have my email addresses. You can always email me, and I'll get back to you within 24 hours. Third way we could possibly communicate is by Zoom. And if you need me on Zoom, for example, let's say you're doing a lab and you're having problems with the lab, or for any other reason, contact me by email and I'll send you an invitation so I can see you, you can see me, and we can work together on Zoom. You're taking a class called Physical Geology. And Physical Geology is an interesting subject. I'm going to try. I'm used to doing this in person, but I'm going to try and communicate with you best as I can by video. You should have signed up to my YouTube channel, and the videos are going to be named Fall 1, Fall 2, Fall 3, etc. And make sure you subscribe and watch all the videos. We're going to be having a test about every 4 weeks, and I'll send you instructions on how to do that by momentum. But let's go over the basics of this class first. Here's your syllabus. You should have got this from an email that I sent you. So here we're going to work our way down here. That's what our first video is going to be about. It's going to be about the syllabus. You're at Roan State Community College, and I'm glad you decided to go to Roan State Community College. We're quite proud here of the fact that we have been rated the #1 community college in Tennessee. And so people come out of Roan State and they get good jobs, and they can go on to a 4-year degree or even a master's or a PhD or whatever you want to do. This is the next step in your life. And I'm glad you decided to take this class, because I think you're going to really enjoy this class. I have been teaching this for 20 years, and I have students who are always contacting me, and they know that I always try and help them if I can. The name of this class is GEOL 1040, Physical Geology. I guess the first question you might be asking yourself is, what is physical geology? Well, in order to answer that question, first thing we have to answer is what is geology? Geology, that is an English word. Yes, it's an English word, it's English. And it's actually derived from Latin. Geo means earth, and ology means the study of. So geology is the study of the earth. And physical geology and historical geology, which I will teach next semester, are the two introductory geology classes here in the United States. In all 50 states and all 13 Canadian provinces, the first two geology classes you take are physical geology and historical geology. Physical geology has to do with the physical parts of the earth. Earthquakes, volcanoes, rocks, minerals, mineral resources. How can we use the earth to make a profit? from, for example, from mining. Everything in your computer, in your cell phone, has come from the earth. It has come from minerals that are mined out of the earth. And the mining industry produces a lot of good jobs. Some of you might end up in it, in the mining industry. Environmental protection. If we understand the earth, we can understand how to keep our air and our water clean. So if you're going into environmental science, geology is really interesting. Natural disasters, earthquakes, volcanoes, floods take a great human toll in terms of lives lost, lives harmed, and also damage to real estate and financial losses. We need to see how we can avoid those losses so that people in the United States don't have to suffer so much from natural disasters. We study, why do the continents fit together like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle? What is Earth's place in our solar system? What is the place of our solar system in our galaxy, the Milky Way? And what is the place of our galaxy in the known universe? How old is the Earth? How old is the universe? All of these questions are answered in physical geology. Water resources. What can you get out of studying rocks in terms of studying our past? And that's basically what physical geology is about. Briefly, I'll talk about historical geology, even though you're not taking that class. Historical geology is a different class, and it has to do with Earth history, all the way from the beginning of the universe, 13.7 billion years ago, to the formation of our Earth, 4.6 billion years ago, to the formation of our moon, 4.55 billion years ago, to the beginning of life on planet Earth, 3.5 billion years ago, to the development and explosion of life on our planet, of advanced life forms starting about 542 million years ago, to the dinosaurs appearing on the Earth about 240 million years ago, to the end of the dinosaurs 65 million years ago, all the way going to human beings, Homo sapiens, appearing on the Earth maybe about 1 million years ago. And then what happened to humans during those times before civilization and during the Ice Age. All of those things are covered in historical geology. If you love history, you will love historical geology. Imagine a book about 2 inches thick, and it contained all of the history of our planet, all 4.6 billion years. If you study history, you're only going to get one paragraph on the last page of that book. Historical geology shows you what's on the other 999 and a half pages in the book of Earth Time. There's my name, Arthur Lee. Make a long story short, I went to Penn State for college, and then I went to Temple University for my master's, and I went to the University of Southern California, USC, for my doctorate. USC, we're really proud of our football team. We used to be good, and we are proud of the fact that we're the only college football team named after condoms. Go Trojans. So you get lots of bad humor in this class, but I think if a person doesn't have a sense of humor, the class gets boring. And I don't want this class to be boring, so I'm going to try and look at the humor of life and geology. My students seem to appreciate it, rather than hear someone talk to them with a monotone voice and bore them to death. I made a lot of the videos for this class in the summer. So when you watch some of these videos, there'll be some references to you have to do this and you have to do that in the summer. Ignore that part. Just watch the content part of it, and I'll make additional videos to show you exactly what you need to do step by step to keep up with the deadlines in this class. And I'm rooting for you to do well. Even though I can't see your face, I bet it. I know you're a smart person, a smart young man or smart young lady, and you're gonna do well. If you put the effort into this class, you will do well. There's my office in Golf 224. That doesn't really help you because I can't go in there. So, how are you going to meet me? We can meet virtually. And I've got office hours set up from 7 to 9 p.m. Monday through Saturday. If you want me to meet with you, maybe have a 5 or 10 minute Zoom call or whatever you want to do, arrange for it, email me, and then we'll try and set up a time where we can meet online and talk about anything you want pertaining to this class. The lectures in this class, since we've got COVID-19, is going to be online, and there's my YouTube channel. So just copy that and paste it into your address bar, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. And as I mentioned before, the videos are going to be, I shouldn't give out my cell number real well. They will be, if you go there, there'll be Fall 1, Fall 2, Fall 3, Fall 4, Fall 5, etc. And I'll let you know by email. Please, I beg of you to make sure that your email account, you empty your inbox. Because if your inbox is full, there's no way for me to contact you. Then I got to call you or text you. There's my emails, lee@roanstate.edu and aclee1234@yahoo.com. Email me, and always CC the other email address in case one doesn't go through. To send me your lab assignments, your lab quiz answers, etc. You can use that email. Contact me for any reason about this class, and I'll get back to you within 24 hours. I'm going to send your laboratory assignments by email, and some of those, when we start studying rocks and minerals, you're going to look at me on screen, and I'm going to say, this is sample number 1, and I'll do some tests on that sample, and I'll let you look at it real close, and you're going to have to figure out what mineral is that, or what rock is that. Remember, rocks and minerals are not the same thing. Rocks are made up of different minerals. So minerals are the components of rocks. And so we'll be studying minerals before rocks. But when the actual quiz comes along, you're going to need to come and pick up the physical samples at my house, 115 Dixie Lane, Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And when you drive here, one person in your lab group, and you're going to have 4 people in your group. And one of the people in your group has to come over to my house and pick up that box. The box is going to be on my front doorstep near the mailbox, and it'll have your names on it. And so when you need to pick up samples, come to my front door and just pick it up. Just make sure you return it within 3 days of completing the lab quizzes. So you'll be looking at actual rocks and minerals during your lab quizzes, which are about once every 4 weeks. This class is a 4-credit class, and ladies and gentlemen, the good thing about that is that's going to fulfill your general education requirements in getting your degree, be it a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree. And so you can transfer these classes to any 4-year school you want to go to, be it UT or MTSU, ETSU, University of Kentucky, or Penn State, or even if you want to go to England, you can do that. You could transfer the classes. Course objectives. First thing is, like I mentioned, is I'm not going to just read this off to you, but that's boring. But I'll tell you that this class is set up for non-science and science majors. That means you don't have to be a whiz in science in order to get an A in this class. What you do need to do is really pay careful attention to all the instructions, watch the videos once or twice, make sure you take notes. Take out a pad of paper and write down the main notes so you know what the deadlines are, what the main points covered were, and you can do quite well. You're going to study the physical features of the earth, mountains and oceans and rivers and lakes, and see how they change the surface of the earth and the interior of the earth. We're going to go down all the way down into the center of the earth and see what's inside the earth. And I'll tell you that it's more than 4,000 miles to the center of the earth. During lab, you're going to work with your 3 other lab partners to complete the online lab portion of this class. And people, they love the lab part of the class. You get to meet new people. You're going to exchange cell phone numbers with one another so you can text each other and try and get along with your lab partners. Always somebody doesn't, once, about, it's not, let me put it this way. It's rare that everybody gets along perfectly. Everybody's got a different personality. But imagine that you're like John, Paul, George, and Ringo. You got to get along if you want to make good music. And instead of making good music, if you want to have a good experience. So even though you all have different personalities, try and get along with each other, communicate with one another, respond to each other's texts, call each other if you want to work in person. Just stay safe, but you can do that as well. So, learning outcomes. That means what do you get out of learning physical geology? First thing you get to learn is how scientists think. And I tell you, that is the scientific method. And the way scientists think, it's a powerful way of thinking. It helps you study almost anything in an objective, honest way. What's that mean? Well, what that means is scientists are objective. They go with the information that they've gathered, the data they've gathered, not their preconceived notions. In other words, when you're studying something, you need to take out any preconceived bias. You don't go in there, for example, thinking like a Democrat or a Republican or an independent. You go in there and you go with what the data shows you. Even if it goes against what you believe, you still must be intellectually honest and go with the data. That's hard for a person to do, but that's what a good scientist does. He or she does not go in to prove a point. You go in there like a blank sheet of paper and take in the data and analyze it, and wherever it takes you intellectually, you have to go there. That's what a good scientist will do. We're going to be learning about environmental issues and energy issues. For example, how are we going to solve our energy issues so that our electricity bills don't go sky high? Is coal the answer? Is oil, natural gas? Is nuclear power what we should use? Should we use green energy? We're going to look at that not from the perspective of a Democrat or Republican, but as a scientist. And we're going to look at the pros and cons and honestly look at the pros and cons without bias to figure out what's the best way to solve our energy issues while at the same time protecting the environment. I don't think anybody doesn't want to protect the environment. We want clean water and clean air. How can we do that while at the same time um, having economic growth and producing jobs? How are we going to prepare people for natural disasters like earthquakes and volcanoes and floods? How can we use geology? A lot of you are young, but your first and your largest big investment is going to be your house or your condo or your townhouse. Those that involves a huge amount of money, and it's a lot bigger purchase than that of a vehicle. You want to make money out of your real estate transaction. I tell you what, if you understand geology, you're going to make a lot more money. I've made a lot more money myself in real estate by understanding geology, and so do all real estate developers. My sister's husband, Jason, he is in real estate development. He hires geologists. Why? Because what's under the ground affects the price of the real estate. The geology under the ground is going to determine how stable the foundation is going to be on your house, whether or not you're going to have water line problems or gas line problems, or whether or not you're going to have cracks in your walls or in your driveway. All those things are affected by geology. So whether you're buying or selling real estate, you need to know some geology. National policy issues. What about should we be drilling in Alaska? Should we be moving towards green energy? Should we use nuclear power? All of these issues we're going to look at not from a biased point of view, as being, saying the Democrats say this, the Republicans say this. We're going to say what both sides say in a fair and impartial way, and you make your own judgment. What about all of the raw materials that are needed to make every manufactured product? I would think that all of us would agree that we need to make more things in America to reduce our national debt. Well, how are we going to compete with the rest of the world if we can't get the raw materials that we need to manufacture products so that their price point is going to be competitive? We need to do that. We need to have access to the thousands of materials that go into a cell phone, or the thousands of different mineral resources that go in building a car, an airplane, or a computer. So geology has to do with our economy. Specific course requirements. Well, you need to use momentum to take your tests, and I'm going to give you a step-by-step instructions so you know how to do that. Okay, as far as course materials, what do you need? The cheap things that you can go ahead and buy right away are a drawing compass to draw circles, pencils, erasers, colored pencils. Okay, those are all things you can buy at the dollar store or Walmart or Kmart if you're near it. But as far as actual books go, the textbook is free. Here's the link. That's not the link. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be covering about a chapter a day. Let me see, we got 15 weeks, right? So we'll be covering a chapter a week. So the first week we'll be covering understanding science, then plate tectonics, then minerals, and we'll work our way down this list. And I'll be covering each of these chapters with my YouTube broadcasts. As far as the lab goes, you're going to have to buy that. That's the most expensive thing, and here it is. It's available in the bookstore or on eBay, Amazon. eBay is usually cheaper than Amazon. Make sure you get the 12th edition. And you're going to need that lab manual to do your labs. Grading and evaluation. Basically, boy, that was Notice, okay, I just noticed a mistake I made. I sent you a syllabus said we're going to have a test every 1.5 to 2 weeks, but that was for the summer. So I'm going to change that right now. We're going to have our we're going to have our tests and our lab quizzes about every 4 weeks. Okay? So we're going to have 4 tests over the semester, and you're going to have about 4 lab quizzes. Every week you're going to be work with your lab partners and by texting them. You can use Zoom. That really works well. I highly recommend you get Zoom on your computer. If you, it will help you work with your lab partners. And email is going to take forever, so don't do that. If you got an iPhone, use FaceTime. That'll work too. Every week, I'm going to send you your lab assignment in Microsoft Word form. So you need Microsoft Word, and then you're going to complete your lab assignments and email them back to me with all of your names on it. Don't send it to me without your names on it, please. I'll send you back your graded labs within a couple of days of you handing it in. So as far as grading goes, so you're taking 4 tests the semester. 1, 2, 3, 4. En français, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to have 4 tests, and you get to drop the lowest test. You drop your lowest test. Having said that, the tests are curved, and that's going to help you a lot, because why? Some people say my tests are hard. There's 50 multiple choice questions on each test. But it doesn't matter if my tests are hard or easy. The test is curved. So if you get the average grade in the class, you're going to get a B. If you get above average, you're going to get an A. If you do below average, you're going to get a C. And if you do much worse than average, you're going to get a D. There's no way on God's green earth you're going to get an F if you put in an effort. The lecture part of the class is 75% of your grade, and your lab is 25%. And extra credit. Okay, here it is on the syllabus. On the last week of class, you could write a 1 to 2 page paper in your own words, nothing from the internet or a book or your relatives, but coming out of your mind. Let's say you're Joe Smith, coming out of Joe Smith's mind. What did you like about the class? What inspired you? What made you look at life differently or the earth differently? Write it down, a 1 to 2 page paper, Microsoft Word. Send me the file, and you can add up to 5 points to your lowest non-drop test score. That's the only extra credit there is. Okay? Working our way down the syllabus, plagiarism and academic integrity. I believe one of the things you should learn in college and high school and middle school and elementary school and kindergarten is to be honest, to be a good person, to not cheat. Anyway, the way the test is set, the way the class is set up, it would take you 1,000 times more effort to cheat than it would to just study hard. And you're not going to gain anything if you don't put in the effort anyway. Everybody's got to take the test at the same time. If you don't take the test at the same time, and everyone's going to get a different test, because I've set it up so that the questions are all scrambled and the answers are scrambled. So there's as one of the founding fathers who I respect a lot, Benjamin Franklin, said, honesty is the best policy. It really is. You could do very well and put in do your hard work, and you'll get a lot out of this class. Students with disabilities. Well, I guess it's different now because we're not actually meeting and we're not going on a field trip like we usually would do. But if there's something that a disability that you need me to work with you on, please contact your advisor, Jeff Snell, or I can't remember the other people's names, whoever your advisor is, and ask them to, I need an extra hour on the test or whatever it is. I can't do anything for you unless you contact them first. Legally, I can't. If you were my own daughter or son, I couldn't do anything for you. You have to go through the disabilities office. Preventing sexual discrimination and harassment, you don't need to worry about anything like that. Technical support. If you have any computer problems, you can always call CTAT. There's the number there. Call the help desk. And we're not going to have emergency situation responses probably because we're not in the buildings. If there's any changes to the syllabus, I will tell you about them. I told you about one of them, that the tests and quizzes are going to be once every 4 weeks instead of 1.5 to 2 weeks. You can still use the library. You can go use any of these online resources, or you can actually go to the campus and use the library. And you have to do the COVID-19 screening and get that before you can go into the building. You've got the Learning Center as well. Some people find that they're not prepared for college and they don't know how to study or organize their notes. Well, you're not alone. The Learning Center, they have great, committed people who will help you if you're struggling in a class. If you're struggling in my class or any class, contact the Learning Center. A lot of great people. My daughter used to work there, and she helped a lot of people. So, there you go. Here's your lecture topics, and these are listed in order that we will cover them. And the lab schedule, this first week we'll be covering the metric system. And I will give you your lab in a couple of days. I'll just there's two ways of measuring things: the metric system, which almost the whole world uses, and the imperial system, which came from Britain. They still understand it in Britain, and in Canada they still can understand what we use. We use feet and miles and acres and Fahrenheit and ounces and pounds and quarts and pints. But the rest of the world mostly uses meters and liters and kilometers and kilograms and Celsius. In the world of science, we have to report our measurements in metric units. We can add on imperial units too in parentheses, but we need to be able to understand the metric system, because otherwise the rest of the world won't understand our scientific data or results. Does that mean we have to ignore the imperial system? No, because we still use it in this country, and therefore we have to know how many pints there are in a gallon. We have to know how many feet there are in a mile, and how many inches are in a foot, and but we need to convert between these two systems, and so we will learn how to do that in the first lab. I'll be sending a new video soon.